Greetings, my name is Blaze, and I wanted to give my impressions on the new Volibear. So they did a little sneak peek today. I got to watch it live. I've kind of clipped out and edited some pieces to kind of talk about it and kind of give my impressions. So I guess first and foremost, who am I as far as League of Legends goes? Well, I am currently ranked in solo duo, Summoner's Rift, as Gold 4. I'm not really that great of a player. I'm a support main who mains Taric, and I can pretty much play every role to a reasonable degree. And I've always liked Volibear. So I've used Volibear mostly in jungle. I've used him at top a little bit. So there's definitely been some changes from what I'm seeing so far. I mean, the overall look of him doesn't seem too shabby. So let's go ahead and get into it without further ado. So during this event, they kind of showed a wall. They showed some hammering. And they showed, it looked like one of the drakes, I guess, one of the wyverns. And it showed, of course, Volibear getting struck by lightning in the background of the clouds, which is kind of cool. So what I did is I kind of clipped out the scenes that they did as a preview. So they're kind of showing like the redesign work here about how the new look is going to be for him. I feel like he looks pretty cool on a whole. The changes, I mean, I've always kind of liked him because he's basically a polar bear. And I guess they've kind of made him look more like a, I don't know, like a super weightlifting polar bear, like a bodybuilder, which is not really the end of the world. I do like the extra lightning. I kind of like the runes and stuff hanging from his shoulders. I don't know. He looks neat. I mean, I'm not complaining about the redesign for his base skin. Definitely neat concept art on a whole. Now, here they're showing his passive. So it looks like after a couple strikes of his passive, he'll start throwing lightning and electricity around and hitting multiple foes. That's kind of a neat passive. Makes me wonder if he's still going to have his regen after he loses a certain amount of life. They might have taken that away. I'm not 100% positive on that. So his first move here, his Q, is definitely changed. Now, I was concerned at first that they took away his Rolling Thunder and that he couldn't run anymore. Looks like he still has the ability to do that in later parts, which I'll show you here in these clips that I put together for you. So you'll see that he actually got on all fours there as he ran up. So that you'll actually see in other ones as well. So it still looks like he has his Rolling Thunder, but he's not flipping them behind him anymore. Now it looks like he's just causing stun. So doing a comparison to the way it used to look, Rolling Thunder, you got to run around, and you got to flip them behind you. So instead of flipping them behind you now, it's just going to do a stun. I don't know how I feel about that. His W still seems like it's his bite. Now, in this case, it looks like he just ran up and bit right away, whereas the former bite, you have to charge it, or at least it seems like you have to charge it a little bit longer before you can use it. So you have to do a few hits. Now, of course, I'd already done a few hits with Volibear here just to show you the W. I'm assuming it heals, but it didn't look like he was missing health, so I wasn't sure. Now, his E seems to be his big change. So obviously before he did his roar, it would kind of daze and stun people. Now he's throwing down a lightning bolt, and you actually will get a shield if you're standing inside the circle when that bolt of lightning comes down. So that shield's kind of a neat effect. I'd like to see how it can be utilized, of course, in matches. So far, I'm a little bummed about the flip being removed, because I feel like the flip was a lot of the mechanics when you used Volibear. You had this big tank would just run in, grab their ADC, flip them back to your allies, and let them decimate the ADC and kind of help control the flow of the battle. The fact that they're removing that and taking that out does bother me a bit. I mean, I do see the advantage to a stun, but to me it's not the same thing as dragging out one of the targets and throwing them to your allies or pulling them out of a tower. This is his old E right here. So you see that little roar that happened, and it kind of does this little shock stun to all of the enemies around him. His ultimate looks pretty sweet. Let me rewind that a little bit again. He's basically going to leap and go after the enemy. He's going to land, and he's going to basically get this huge buff. He just becomes enormous, lets out this big howl, and then he's like all ready to start ripping the enemies to shreds. It also looks like it's kind of a Nasus kind of effect, where he's able to tank more damage potentially. At least that's the impression I'm getting from looking at this. I do like his old one still, but I think I like his new ult. So here's his old one. He would have a lightning bolt hit his paw, and then as he hit, a bolt of lightning would streak to all enemies that are nearby. So if they're all clustered together, they're going to take damage. You'll notice the one further away is not taking damage. And when I step away from those two and strike this one, you'll see it's not going to necessarily strike all on the screen. They have to be within a certain range. So I do like his old ultimate a lot, but I think the new ultimate, the ability to leap in, that's pretty legit. I kind of like it. I think I do like the new ultimate a little bit better from what I'm seeing. Obviously, I'll have to see it in combat first. Now, this right here, as soon as this happened, a lot of folks are kind of freaking out like, oh, he needs to be nerfed. He just jumped into 2 towers and started killing people, and obviously he's still surviving and not taking any damage. It looks like he's a level 16 here, so this is like not a level 1 Volibear. So, I mean, obviously with his ultimate has to be unlocked first. Here's just some base footage of me running around using a couple of the air skills. Nothing too major or big. Was just showing a comparison to how he currently is before they actually apply this update. And as you can see, like I said, that flip with the Q is going to be huge. This seems to be new skins. I think this might be his Thunderlord skin. I can't quote that. This is actually one of the few that I have unlocked. It's kind of an interesting look. I mean, it almost looks like he has long hair braided to a certain degree. And of course, it looks like he has the braids going to the front there. I do kind of like the tattoo-like pattern. This skin has always been interesting to me because he's a polar bear, and by making him, I guess, like a black bear, I assume like an American black bear or something like that. I don't know. Definitely doesn't seem grizzly. Grizzly would be more of a brown color, but I don't know. The fur change, I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of. I also don't like the bronze that much. So there's one of his skins. Here's some more concept art. This right here, I think, is fantastic. I love this concept art here. I think it looks great. You can see the lightning in the mouth now, the eyes. So again, I think his redesign will work. But again, you know, you're used to the old stuff. So here he is using that skin. And again, he's going to run in with his Q there. It stuns them. So you'll see that there. He has his little run. So he still is able to charge the enemy. But instead of flipping them out of tower range, he's stunning them under tower. And then he's using his ultimate here. So you see that he took a tower shot, uses the ultimate, and now look at this. The tower shots don't seem to do as much, or maybe they are. Maybe he just tanks it better. Now, in this case, he's a level 6. So if he can really tank tower shots like this at a level 6, ooh, that seems pretty OP. This is more concept art for, I guess, another one of his uniforms. I'm not really sure which this one is. This might be just a new one in general. I'm not digging this one at all. I don't like the uniform he's wearing. I don't like the metal jaws. It is what it is, but I'm just not a huge fan of that uniform. Here he is using the uniform again. So you'll see he's running right at Warwick, and he stuns him. So obviously using that Q coming in. Here he's just kind of following him. There's that E, so he has that shield and goes into his ultimate. And then finishes off with the W, so you can see that bite there at the end. So again, tanking these tower shots. Now look how much damage his tower shots are doing here on a level 10. So maybe it had to do with the ultimate for how much he was tanking before at the level 6. I'm not sure. Again, this is just showing off the character, so I don't know if it's necessarily a good representation about how strong or weak the character is, so much as just showing off some skills. This is another one of his uniforms. I never liked this uniform. I don't own this uniform. I don't really care either way. But of course, you know, they just made him look a little bit more buff and bigger. But again, he's supposed to be a polar bear, and they took away his white fur, and now he has orange fur. So you see here, he is, yeah, staying on Garen and stuff, jumping under the tower here, taking those tower shots like a champion with his ultimate up. So maybe it is the ultimate. Here's another one of his skins. It's a rework again. I didn't like this skin too much either. I think the mustache looks kind of goofy and out of place, but it is what it is. At least he's a polar bear. Could be worse. At least he still has the white fur, so it works. It actually has police sirens go off when he jumps underneath it. Again, it's kind of unusual to me. Looks like there, when he did his E, he was able to get the shield up. So, I don't know. And this is another uniform. I believe this is his runic uniform. I had considered buying this before. Now, this one kind of does make him look like a grizzly bear. Definitely gives him the brown fur and stuff like that. Regardless, again, like I said, he's a polar bear. I think it would be cool if they would have consistently kept him as a polar bear, just because I think polar bears are neat. I mean, there's a lot of different bears that are cool and stuff, but once you change the fur color, you're essentially changing the species of bear they are, too. It is what it is. Yeah, Rune Guard or something like that. I mean, this one does look kind of cool. But again, I like to play him as a polar bear, so I don't own that one either. So here's some footage of him, again, coming in with that Q. There's the E. He has the shield. Now there's the ultimate. And it looked like did not have to use the W that time for the bite. So that's the footage there. That is what I got to see. Now, there could have been more footage after I got done, but I ended up stopping it there. I think I watched for about 15 minutes. So it feels like Volibear is going to be more of a hunter. So I definitely obviously still see him being played as a jungler. It seems like he's actually going to be able to commit to kills versus working with his allies to pull out certain targets or stun targets. He was I feel like he was very good in team fights before, and when he did jungle, you really had to rely on your allies. Now it seems more like he's able to do the kills himself. So it makes him seem very, very vicious. He feels, I don't know, almost like a Warwick now. But he has the tankiness, if that makes sense. Like Warwick can jump in on an enemy and kind of go to town, and he has the roar and the stuns and stuff like that. Seems like that ultimate's pretty nasty. I don't know. I'd like to actually try him out and get a better impression for him, but so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think he's definitely going to be a great character to still play with. I'm looking forward to trying him out. It's just, you know, changes are changes, and you got to get used to them. Either way, thanks for watching. Remember to thumb up, like, and subscribe, and catch me on Twitch sometime. See ya.